The other day, I accidentally bought another Miata, and this Miata turned out to be a literal barn find. This car was sitting for 3 years, the brakes were seized up, locked up, and let's just say it wasn't in the best of condition. We literally had to drag it out of the barn. After about 15 minutes of hard work and pulling the car across the yard, we finally got the car up and onto the trailer and we took it back home. And that brings us to today. Yep, that's right, I bought another car. I couldn't go a year without buying a car. I mean, how could I? It's been 5 years in a row now that I bought a car. And well, here it is. This is my newest acquisition, a identical Miata to the one I already had. This was a decent deal, but something that I kind of just pulled the trigger on last minute type thing. This car doesn't look too bad from like 5 feet away, but it needs some help. It's been sitting for about 3 years. It has a lot of rust, which is going to be a pretty big problem. Definitely not a car that I'm going to be keeping along, or at least not like this. Now, what are the plans for this car? I have no idea. I have no idea even if this car will start and run at this moment in time. I've only heard this car crank, so let's see if we can get it running. But before that, let's just do a quick walk around of the car. So this is a 1990 short nose crank 1.6 liter Miata. It's literally identical to the car I already have. This isn't the original, the first year the Mazda Miata was ever made. And this is just another one of those. This car is second generation NB wheels. The tires are completely shot. The brakes are completely shot. We had to pull this car out because after 3 years of sitting, the brakes just seized on themselves. Now, I was sitting inside. The top's in pretty rough condition. As you can see there, the plastic is ripped. It has a couple other spots on it, but overall, it's not too bad. Coming over to the rest of the interior, there is some mice that got into the interior, unfortunately. The steering wheel has a little bit of play, which you don't really want, and I guess it just got wet and moist. It's missing the radio, which I do have in the trunk. The trunk is also pretty bad in terms of the mice getting into it, but I heard the car crank, and it sounds like it might start up. Now, before we try to start it up, let's talk about the plans of what I want to do with this car, because I'm honestly not sure. Obviously, I already have a car that's exactly the same to this, which is cool, but I don't really think I need two of the exact same cars, especially in the same color and the same options. They are literally the same cars. They both have crank windows, they both are red, they both are the first model year, so I mean, I really don't need two of them. As far as what I do with it, I could get it started, get it running, and sell it. I could get it started, get it running, and take the body off and make an Exocet like I've been talking about. I'm honestly not too sure at this moment in time. Now, like I said, it has a decent amount of rust, which is why I don't want to keep it. But taking the body off and making it an Exocet basically entails getting rid of all the rust that the car has, and it just basically the bare bones roller of the car, which is going to be all taken apart and everything's going to be cleaned before putting a new body on the car. The body is it's rough. The driver's side floor pan is completely gone in this car. Now the big question is, does it run? And I have no idea, so let's find out. Now, it's been a couple of days since I bought the car, and I've let it air out because it was a little damp when it was sitting in there and the carpets were wet, and let's just say the smell wasn't too good. It still definitely smells, but not as bad as it did when I bought it. The carpets and stuff aren't too bad. I mean, the seats definitely need to be cleaned one time, but before any of that, let's put a battery in it and put fuel in it and see what happens. Now, we were jumping the car off a jumper pack with the battery that's currently in it, but I mean, it was pretty shot. So let's take this battery out and put the battery from my car into here. Battery came out with not a lot of fuss, but the trunk smells very bad. This original battery is from 2014, so it's almost 10 years old, so that's definitely not going to be enough to power this car on. That switch isn't doing anything. That works. So at least we know one of the flip-up lights work. What we're also going to do is add fresh gas into here, because apparently it doesn't have too much gas. A little bit of fresh gas never hurts. Key in the ignition. Seems like it is alive. Looks like it tripped a fuse. I guess I haven't even shown the engine bay yet, but here is the engine bay. It's got a painted valve cover, strut brace, aftermarket intake. All right, let's go for round 2. All right, so that didn't quite work. It's not just gonna crank. I'm gonna try it again and just put some more gas into it. I think I didn't hear the fuel pump priming, so we're gonna double check that and see what's going on. So before I wasn't listening to what the car was saying, so. Oh, it's starting. Almost. I think the fuel pump just started picking up. There we go. She's on. It started. Huh. That's kind of crazy. Gas and battery. It has good pressure. It has good oil pressure. Huh. It honestly seems to be running pretty smoothly, considering it hasn't run in 3 years. I didn't even check the oil, and I probably should have, now that I think about it. It seems to be running pretty smoothly. I guess we'll let it just run. We can't drive it because it has no brakes. But I guess we'll let it run and get some heat into it for a second and see what happens. It actually seems to be running pretty good. Give it a little rev. Not bad at all. A little bit of condensation out the tailpipe, but it's not smoking. It's actually running pretty quietly. It's making a little bit of noise, a little bit of chatter you can hear, but honestly not bad. I mean, considering the car hasn't ran in 3 years, it's been started for about 5 minutes now. That's not bad. Not bad at all. We give it a nice little rev. Bad. It is a little noisy. It is chattering a little bit. Perhaps that's because it may need an oil change or something. Nice, dude. I was not expecting this car to start so easily. I had a suspicion that it might be easy, but then I was like, no way. But I guess, hey, can't complain. Let's just come back in. It's up to operating temperature, as you can see there. I'm just gonna shut the car down. She is a little rough. I think it's gonna need an oil change in order to get everything lubed back up. Maybe some synthetic oil in order to get into like all the seals, the valves, everything, and really just quiet the motor down. It makes a little more chatter than my car does. It only has 79,000 original miles, which is kind of crazy to think about. But stay tuned for the next episode, because in the next episode we're gonna clean the entire car out, probably do a little bit of maintenance to the car, and hopefully we can look into the braking situation and make a list of maintenance and see what it all needs, and then hopefully we can go driving in the not too distant future. I'm actually really happy that I was able to get it started. For a second there, when I tried starting it for the first time, it just died. But I just unplugged the battery, plugged it back in, and here we are. Like I said, I heard it turn over when I bought it, and there was a little more rust than I would want to have on the car. Also, I have no idea what's going on with the lights. Obviously this light it's not working. But Miata number 2, what do you guys think in the comment section down below? What do we do with this car? Do we make it into an Exo, or do we make it into a rally car, or do something dumb with it? That's all I have for this video. If you guys did enjoy, make sure you subscribe, leave a like on this video, and make sure you're subscribed, like I just said, because you don't want to miss the next episode where we get this thing hopefully back onto the road.